Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Accounting 1B. My name is Jose Nava. I will be your instructor for the next few weeks. This class is a continuation of your Accounting 1A that you may have taken in the previous quarter. The purpose of this video specifically is to give you a brief overview, approximately 15, maybe 20 minutes, overview of the class setup in terms of the Canvas side and also my accounting lab. As you can see, we're now looking at the central panel in the home page, and there I'll use it for different reasons, different ways, but mostly is to keep you informed as to what is due each week throughout the quarter. On the left-hand side navigation panel, you see there are actually two of them. The one that I'm pointing to right now, those are the syllabus. Those are the features for Canvas, for our class specifically, and on the far left, those are the features for any class, that is using Canvas at Foothill. These are what we refer to these as global features. There, the one that I want to point to right now is Inbox. If you're going to be communicating with me privately, please do not use email. Instead, always use Inbox. Emails get lost. There's so much junk that I get that at times, some emails that are important coming from you, I may miss for some reason. So please always use email. Going back to the course site itself, announcements, syllabus, grades, and so on. I'll be talking about each of these very briefly. There will be other videos that will discuss some of these items in more detail, and you will find those in the orientation section of module 0, which I'll talk about in a second. But let me just basically very briefly talk about each of these features. Announcements is my way to keep you up to date with the class. There will be some recurring announcements that I'll be making. For example, I'll be making some initial beginning of the week announcements that give you the agenda for the week. That basically duplicates what you see in the central panel here, and as well as reflects what's in the syllabus. So I'm trying to just keep you up to speed and informed, and sort of give you reminders as to what's going on each week at the beginning on Monday morning. Then throughout the week, I may post some announcements that relate to changes to the class somehow. There will be always changes to the class, and so I have to kind of keep you updated that way. And also, I may even post some announcements that relate to current events, or maybe some extra credit opportunities that may happen once in a while. So make sure that when you always log into the class, you always have to review all the announcements that are coming to you. Now, you also can set up your notifications inside of Canvas, so that you can get some of these automatically from the Canvas side into your emails. If you want to do that, you can do so probably through this feature here, account. The syllabus, as you know, is our contract between you and me as to what is expected of you in terms of your grade and other things that are policies, other things that are part of the syllabus, and also what you expect from me in terms of the topics that will be covered and the grading and so on. I will be briefly going over the syllabus in this video, but there will be, again, another component in the orientation that will talk about the syllabus in more detail. Grades, obviously, you want to know about the grades, and you can keep track of your grades throughout the quarter by going to this feature. And I'm going to actually do that right now, and I kind of show you one important item to keep in mind as you track your grades throughout the quarter. Here is my view of the grade book, and in order to view or correctly view your grade, each component here shows you both what is your base score that you're looking for as your basically the maximum score that you will be using for the actual percentage that I'll be producing from each of these scores. For now, you don't know about what that means, but as you read the syllabus, you will find out what that is. But basically, here's what I want you to look at is your score. So I'm going to transfer scores from my lab into the gradebook here in Canvas. So just make sure that the transfer came through right, and so you're gonna basically check as you go through the quarter that those transfers have been done correctly. There will be some other scores that I will grade manually, and those again you're gonna check that I enter the right grade in your score here compared to what you see in the actual deliverable that I will grade. Also on the right here side here, you will see that there's actually a listing of all the components by category of your overall elements that make up your final grade. Later I'll show you what, that these are directly what you see in the syllabus. Now at the bottom here, what I want you to look at very carefully is that there's actually a check mark, and there are two views to your grade. Make sure that you have this unchecked. Those are the ones that's the best way to actually view your grade especially at the end of the quarter, because then these grades are based also on some scores that will be dropped, and so by having this checked, it includes those dropped grades, and it doesn't really reflect your final grade correctly. So do this and you'll be fine. Finally, in terms of the view of this grade book, I would actually always view it by assignment group, so that way you get to see all the separate types of assignments in their own grouping. To me, that would be kind of the best way to look at these, but it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, it's okay. It won't break the system. So I'm going to go back to my home page. And so now we talked a little bit about announcements. We talked a little bit about syllabus. Again, I'll go back to that in a second. Grades, I talked about. Chats. Chats, we don't use that officially in the class. Neither do we use NetTutor officially or library resources. All three of those are features to use that you can use on your own. And if you find a way to improve your performance in the class, just do it and let me know if you have questions about these in terms of how you use them, not necessarily in terms of even that. I mean, you can let me know what you think about them. Actually, that would be kind of good, especially NetTutor. I don't know if that's useful or not. My Lab and Mastering, that is the tool that we use for homework, for testing, and also gives you a lot of very neat tools to further enhance and learn how to solve problems or how to think about accounting. So it's actually quite good. And again, there will be another video or another section of the orientation that talks about my lab and also about how to register into it. Modules is where you're going to be going mostly, and so you can access your modules here through this link on the left side, or you can do it through this link in the central panel, or you can even do it through links here. I give you an overview of the whole quarter right on the home page, so you can know where we stand. So for example, in week 0, which is basically really this talks to the first couple of days in the quarter, it's all about the orientation. Now the rest of week 1 and all of week 2 relates to chapter 10. Week 3 is chapter 11, and so on. Week 4, chapter 12, and midterm number 1. And so you can see an overall overview of the class in one view, which is hopefully it's useful. On the left side here, I've got some extra handouts and some additional resources that I may post, and these are mostly just for additional information and then mostly optional. Going back to here, I'm going to post also some videos here that sort of give you an overview of the week in most cases, and so again they will kind of parallel the the agenda that you will see both in the announcement, in the weekly announcement that you get, and also here in the central panel. Then finally, let's see what else here. That's all we need to know for the moment. Now let me go now to the syllabus, and so I want to just show you the different sections of the syllabus. Again, go into the orientation module 0, and you will see more detail. It will reflect these sections. It will be a little more detail. You can always use a discussion thread to ask me questions, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay. For now, just listen. Just give me a chance to give you a little bit of an overview of the syllabus very quickly. This is winter for now, and probably I'll be using this video for my spring class as well at some point later. But it will be the same setup as in the winter. So I say that because I know that I will be reusing this video next quarter. The class is a 5-unit class, which means that you need to spend at least 15 hours per week doing homework, reading, testing, and so on, discussing. So you need to carve out at least 15 hours per week to do decently well in the class. Okay. The course description gives you the essence of the class, what topics we'll be covering. You must have taken 1A at some point or some equivalent of that. Here are the learning outcomes. Here you see which chapters aligned with what exams. So there's 3 sections of the exams, chapters 10 through 12, then 13 through 15. This is the most challenging section of the class, keep that in mind. And then the last section here. Here I show you the different courses that are part of the program. Right now you're in Accounting 1B, which means that you are in the second part of the core sequence of classes that we take, Accounting 1A, 1B, 1C. There's some technical classes here, including QuickBooks and Excel, which I highly recommend. And then if you keep going in accounting, you're probably going to end up taking some of these classes here, advanced courses. We have a very, very comprehensive online offering of accounting classes, probably the best in the country for a community college. So, you can take advantage of these if you want. Down here, I give you a little detail on my lab and on Canvas, but you really don't need to do that. All the thing you need to do at this point is to understand you will need your 16-digit access code that you purchased with the book, either in Accounting 1A last quarter or in this class if you haven't done the purchasing of the book yet. If you have purchased the book previously, yeah, that's it, you're done. You don't need to purchase anything else. You have both the book and access to my lab. And so if you still need the book, I would recommend obviously option A, because that's the bundle we have already negotiated at a great price for. That includes both the e-text and the printed text, as well as the access code. And that's that comes from directly from the bookstore at Foothill. If you, for some reason, you don't need a printed book and you want a different option, you can get this one, but you only get the ebook and access for $128. And at least that's the current price, I think. You can check. Option C is purely the MAL access, my lab access, no book. So keep that in mind. If you have already have the book maybe from a friend, you may be able to get away with this option C, which is the reason I put it there. Okay. Let's see. When you register through my accounting lab, you're going to actually go through here through this link here. And I'm going to just show you that now. It will look like this. And initially, when you first go into this screen, you have to go through the registration process itself. But to do so, you will have to just click on any of these links here, like this. You have to just accept the terms. Now you're actually sort of talking to Pearson, who are the ones that do my lab for us. We're linked already to our my lab section, so the system knows who we are. So if you already have created an account previously, you can just put your account name here and you can sign in, and then you get to a page that I'll show you in a second. If you don't have an account, then you have to create it, and then you come back here and sign in again at some point. Once you do that, you actually end up on this screen. And so it is here that you actually go into, if you already have an access code, and then just simply after about 2 screens, you're done. You're into the My Lab section for our class. But if you haven't really purchased the access code previously, then you can either do that through the bookstore, which again is the best option, or you can do option B here or option C there. And then once you do that, you have an access code. You can go into access code button here, and now you go again through into the class. If you for some reason you don't have the money immediately, you can still access all the assignments by using the temporary access option for 14 days, and then after that you need to have already purchased the upgrade at that point in time. This is a section on how you can communicate with me throughout the quarter. Please read that. Here's some discussion or some detail on the assignments. So here's the reading checks or quizzes, 1 per chapter. Here's the assigned homework, exams. There's obviously 3, 2 midterms and 1 final, a project, and then there's also attendance and participation. Attendance is simply you come in once per week, actually 3 logins, but the first one has to be done in the first part of the week, so Monday or Tuesday, through the module. And here are the grading components. Again, here's the logins. One of them has to be through the module. That will get you that attendance grade, 1 percentage point for the overall class. There's also a class participation portion, which is 4 points, or 4% of the class, and that is basically one posting in the chapter discussions for that week per week. I mean, that's it. You only need one single posting in any of the discussion threads, and you're done with the CP score. Now, obviously, you want to do more than that, but for the grade itself, you only need to have one, and only one will count actually towards your grade. Again, the more you engage in the class, the more you will learn, the easier the class will be. So one is the requirement, but you should do more. So that's 5% of the grade. There's also some reading checks or quizzes. There will be 8 of them. 6 will count. The 2 lowest will be dropped automatically. So each of them is 1 point. So you have 6% of the grade relates to these quizzes. There's 7 or 8 homeworks. One of them will be dropped. So 7 times 3 points each. That will be 21% of the grade will be from homework. Both of these are inside of my lab, same as the exams. The two midterm exams actually are 16 points each for a total of 32% of your grade. The final is 26% of the grade, and the theme project is 10 points. Here's a scale. If you get a 92.99, that will be an A minus. If you get a 93, that will be an A. And so that's how you read this. So every grade you see there. There are no bump ups. There's an exception to that. You can look at it at the bottom of this syllabus. Here's some course policies. In terms of drops and withdrawals, make sure that you drop without a W by the 2nd week. And if you want to drop with a W, do it by the end of the 8th week. Beyond the 8th week, neither you nor I can drop you from the class. Keep that in mind. The class goes from 8 a.m. on Monday mornings through Friday at 12 noon. Any work, you can still deliver work over the weekends. So that's what I set it up so that you can actually do work and deliver over the weekends, but don't count on your classmates or even on the instructor being at work over the weekend. I think it's best to sort of do the work through the work week, and we'll be able to help you if you need help through discussions from Monday through Friday. Here's the setup of the class calendar. This column gives you the week number. This column is gives you the date of that week's Monday. So here's January 8th is the first week. The 15th is January 15th for the 2nd week, and so on. The topic for each week, orientation in this case, plus chapter 10. In the 2nd week, continuation of chapter 10. Week 3 is chapter 11. The actual deliverables are also listed. So for the orientation, there's a few items that are required in the module itself. For the module 0 orientation, that's due, he says here Sunday, because at the end of the day, that's really the ultimate deadline. You should probably get that done by Tuesday. You should not be doing most of this work or waiting for this work by Sunday, because it's going to cause a little trouble. The reading check for chapter 10 is this Sunday. Normally, these reading checks are actually due in the middle of the week, but because it's the beginning of the quarter, for this chapter, the reading check itself is due on Sunday. The following Sunday, the homework for chapter 10 is due. It's based on these homework items from your book. And CP posting, the participation posting, is due on that same Sunday. So notice that everything is due on Sunday, but that doesn't mean that you should wait until Sunday to do these. You might want to do some of these things way early in the week to get some help from me and from your classmates. In week 3, notice that again, the reading checks are on Wednesday. Most reading checks are due on Wednesday. Homeworks are usually due on Sundays. Here's the exam. Sundays, February the 4th, that's when the first exam is due. Now that will open on Friday, and you can access it through Friday, from Friday all the way through Sunday. It's normally a 2-hour exam, but once you go in, you have 2 hours. In terms of exam number 2, that will be from Sunday through Tuesday, same setup. And the project itself will be due on the final week, Tuesday. The final exam is due, opens and also closes on the same day, Thursday. So plan your work accordingly to that. There's some important notes here, again, on bump ups. Make sure that you read this note on bump ups, but also these other notes are important as well. And finally, just make sure that you have fun. I mean, we have a lot of work, but it is more fun and more useful for you if you engage and if you are active in the class. So read the syllabus on your own in detail, go through the orientation, and then you'll be ready for the class itself. Now, the last thing I'll do for now is, very quickly show you the modules, how they set up. So I'm gonna just click on this link, or again, let me go back just to make sure that you understand. You can click on the modules here, or if you go to the home page, oops, sorry, too much movement, I know, but I have to make this as brief as possible. So if you go to home page, you will see that you have also a link to the modules here, the ones that are active for that week. I'll do that in the agenda section every single week. And also you have this overview here to access those modules. So let me go again to module 0. And as you can see, you have here a set of tasks to accomplish for this orientation. You definitely have to go to the course orientation itself, which is the presentation here on this link. There's some items here that are optional. So if you need to learn more about Canvas or MyLab, you can go here. Orientation certification quiz, that is required so that I know that you have gone through the orientation itself. It's very simple if you actually go through the orientation itself. There's another couple of things here that you should go. Right now they look grayed out because I haven't gone through them as a student. So they're grayed out. You cannot access them until you go in sequence. You can learn about me a little bit. That's not as important as you. So down here, you also have to post a bio for module 0. So very briefly, post your bio and say hi to two others in the class. There's also a orientation discussion board. So if you have a question on the orientation, please post them here, first week only. And then if you have any other admin kind of questions throughout the quarter, you can use this virtual office discussion thread. And then once you do that, you're able to then access weeks 1 and 2 module, which is chapter 10 material. And in that case, you'll notice that you've got a certain number of sections here which apply to all chapters as we move through the quarter. There's a section that gives you the overview for each week. They give you the attendance check that I talked about. This only applies to weeks 2 through 11, so there are 10 of them. Then there's the lecture notes, the answer keys to the questions or to the items that are in the homework. So you can always compare the textbook given information for the questions and the problems, and then go here to look at the answer keys to see how the authors have solved these problems. You'll be able to also find out how to solve these problems by going to MyLab, which is you will see a little bit of that in a different orientation component here up here when you go through this orientation presentation. So there's that content here that I can show you the lecture notes for the class, for the chapter, and then the answer keys. There's a discussion board here. This is where you earn your class participation grade. Any of these would work. Just post once and you're done. But obviously, the more you post, the better you're going to be able to do. If you don't want to answer the questions in here, you can also post your own questions in this other discussion thread. Then, in terms of getting your assignments done, you can go to your RCs 10 from here in this screen. Once you go through the sequence of this page, you'll be able to access this page and also the homework right there. And then the next few lessons are going to be set up the same way. This actually is, I have to move this a little bit. Anyway, that sort of shows you what this looks like, and hopefully this will be helpful. Again, use the discussion threads to ask me questions, both for the orientation and throughout the quarter. Already 24 minutes for the video. I'll stop. Enjoy the class. Take care. Bye-bye.